Hello, scholars. I hope that you're doing well and welcome to week 4. And so today we're going to be focusing on how to write better sentences. In this lecture, which is about 23 slides or so, you'll know how to write better sentences. And so I'll try to get through this video as quickly but as efficiently as possible. So let's dive in. All right. And so one of the most common problems in writing is wordiness. This is not only frustrating for readers, but also for editors as well. So a sentence should be concise, communicating only what's necessary. Wordiness obstructs clarity and diminishes the effectiveness of your writing. So when writing, aim to express, not impress. All right, so here's an example of a wordy sentence. Implementation of the new innovation plan will be done at the supervisory level prior to others. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's just not a space there. Prior to others. Sorry about that. And so, not necessarily a bad sentence, but let's see how we can reduce the number of words for the original sentence. And so look at this concise version. Supervisors will implement the new plan first. It says the same thing, right? Same meaning, just fewer words. All right, so here is another example of wordiness. Listen to this wordy sentence. Insight into the pathogenic mechanisms involved in the development of disseminated intravascular coagulation in septic patients is offered. Coagulation in septic patients is offered. I mean, just reading that sentence, I almost started to sweat. You know, that's a very long sentence, right? And so let's look at this more concise version. We examined the pathogenesis of disseminated intravascular coagulation in septic patients. Same meaning, just reduces the word count, right, from about 18 to maybe 11 words while retaining clarity. All right, simplifying phrases. And so when possible, replace long phrases with more direct alternatives. Right, here's an example, right? Instead of saying a limited number, you can say few, right? Instead of saying an overwhelming amount, you could say most. So just basically you want to strive to reduce unnecessary words for greater clarity. You want to use precise language, okay? So for example, not frequently can simply be often, right? Clear, sharp language ensures that your sentences convey exactly what you intend. So there are 7 guidelines for writing better sentences. Okay, well, let's go over the 7 essential guidelines for improving sentence clarity and also structure. Guideline 1, write with clear subjects and verbs. And so a strong sentence usually has a clear subject and also and verbs, right? A strong sentence usually has a clear subject and verb. Consider this sentence. A physician noticed the smell of acetone on the patient's breath. The subject is physician, and the verb noticed appears early in the sentence. This makes the sentence direct and easy to understand. All right, example of a poor sentence structure. Okay, so let's consider this complex sentence. A reemphasis of the biological basis of psychiatry in the 1960s, coinciding with the rise of community psychiatry, led to new concerns about mental health. I want you to pause. How would you revise the above sentence? Consider your subject. Consider the verbs. How would you revise for clarity? Just wanted to give you a minute to just think and think about how you would simplify the sentence. And it may not be any, there's no necessarily right or wrong answers here, but by revising this sentence and give you the practice, remember writing is practice, of revising a very complex, wordy sentence. All righty. And so let's look at guideline number 2, right? You want to choose strong verbs. So strong verbs convey more of the central message of a sentence. So for example, verbs like prepare, study, think are active and don't require modifiers to clarify their meaning. On the other hand, you have weak verbs. Weak verbs, on the other hand, are often forms of to be, such as is, was, were, and they tend to weaken your writing. For instance, the patient was lying down uses a weak verb, while the patient lay down uses a stronger, more active verb. Guideline number 3, active versus passive voice. Active voice, pharmacists select the drugstore in the emergency department. Okay. Passive voice, drugs stored in the emergency department were selected by staff members. So use active voice when you want to emphasize who is performing the action. But a passive voice is acceptable when the action itself is more important than who performed it. All right, let's look at this, the slide 14. And so sometimes passive voice is necessary. So for example, enzyme concentrations were determined. This sentence appropriately focuses on the results rather than who did the testing. All right, guideline number 4, sentence length. Sentences that are 40 or more words can be hard for most readers to follow. So keep sentence length manageable to ensure clarity and also engagement. Guideline number 5, watch where you're going. You want to avoid burying the main points, right? And so avoid burying your main point in excessive introductory phrases. So for instance, in contrast to the previously mentioned forms of VT in children, so on and so forth, can be simplified to some young patients with VT appear to have no heart disease. All right, guideline 6, parallelism. Using parallel sentence structures contributes to clarity and rhythm. So for example, she was required to give injections, type letters, and file correspondence. Is clearer than she was required to it's clearer than she was required to give injections, type letters, and filing all correspondence. Faulty parallelism. Faulty parallelism can confuse readers. A proper example, the treatment must either produce a negative culture in 24 hours or be replaced. So this maintains consistency and clarity. Guideline 7, dangling modifiers. Dangling modifiers often occur at the beginning of sentences and can cause confusion. So for example, talking to the patient, his eyes focused on the red marks. Okay, here's a better version. While talking to the patient, his eyes focused on the red marks. You see the difference there? And so please keep in mind of dangling modifiers. Right. And so here's an example without a dangling modifier. Having finished the assignment, Jen turned on the TV. Here, Jen is clearly the one who finished the assignment. Idiomatic expressions. Be cautious with idiomatic expressions like burning the candle at both ends or barking up the wrong tree. These phrases can detract from clarity if used inappropriately. One great resource for sentence writing is Better Sentence Writing in 30 Minutes a Day by Diana S. Campbell. This book offers practical advice for improving your writing and is an excellent addition to your bookshelf. So I realize that much of what we discussed today may seem unfamiliar, but it's always good to revisit these concepts. And so you can revisit these concepts at any particular time. In any case, thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to our next session. And as always, you've got this. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you in week 5. Bye-bye.